that kind of thinking is actually very rare among old people also. Termasuk mereka yang ada kat dalam parlimen tu.
Admiration comes a filter.
Yeah, can I ask you what made you ask that question?
What made me ask that question?
But yes, betul YB, betul.
Sosial media ni sebab setengah dia
Wayang.
setengah wayang, setengah tak. Hai semua, nama saya Kuha.
Saya Suryani.
I am a Gen Z.
Still a Gen Z.
Gen Z.
Saya Gen Z.
Hari ini saya akan bertanya kepada
Dr. Ong Kian Ming.
Halo, nama saya Dr. Ong Kian Ming, mantan Ahli Parlimen Kawasan Bangi dan juga mantan Timbalan Menteri MITI.
Okay, so when it comes down to social media, you know, we have Instagram, TikTok, the other social medias, and people don't really watch long form speeches on like YouTube or like in general, and they just watch these like, you know, short form content from like 5 to 7 minutes or maybe even shorter than that.
Especially you watch reels.
Yeah, a lot of people watch reels. So, like when you as a politician, and an expert as well, how do you like explain these complicated topics in a way that like, you know, Gen Z can understand? Like if it, like maybe use the slang of Gen Z or like, you know, having like these kind of short form content to like educate the public.
Okay, a very good question, Priscilla. Firstly, I don't think I will try to use the slang of Gen Z because I will mess it up. I heard you guys talking about slay and things like that. I've had interns who have used those terms. I think for 51-year-old to use it, maybe not so appropriate. But I think what you know, we can do as policy makers and communicators would be to firstly make it catchy so that it's relevant to the Gen Zers. So for example, hey, you know that Facebook and Instagram is going to introduce a ban on social media for those under 16. Are you affected? Right? So you have something that catch them first. And then after that, once their attention is caught, then you try to explain, you know, what is the pros of this particular policy, what are the cons, and then how you should think about it and understand it. And I think you can do that in a very short period of time, probably 3 minutes max. I think you'll be able to get your point in. Older people have to do it all the time through things called elevator pitches. Do you know what an elevator pitch is?
I think you stand on stage and a crowd of people watch you and you pitch your idea basically. Is it something like that?
It's a bit like that, but it literally means if let's say you are in an elevator going from floor 1 to floor 50, you only have that time in the elevator to pitch an idea to somebody.
Okay. I had a friend who did that for an assignment.
Okay, so you probably have to do that within 30 seconds.
Alright, so as for my question, us young people, we are often told that, oh, we are the future, oh, anak muda lah, we will shape the future, our voices matter. However, when it comes to decision making, oftentimes it feels as if our voices doesn't really matter, our opinions doesn't matter, our voice isn't accounted for. So how can young people influence policy or policy making without becoming politicians?
I think a few things. Firstly, young people should have a voice, but the voice should be as much as possible a substantive one. Meaning, you cannot just say, oh, you must listen to me kerana saya orang muda. It's just like, oh, you mesti dengar saya kerana saya orang tua. Right? You should try to earn the right to being heard by the substance of what you want to talk about. So for example, young people these days, you know, you guys would probably want to care more about the environment. What happens in terms of climate change will affect you guys much more than it will affect me. So having that kind of substance, I think is one thing. Second thing is, young people are probably much better at collaboration and discussion compared to us old fogies. So when it comes to talking about ideas, it would be great if, let's say, you guys could discuss among yourselves and then find the right platforms to be able to voice out your ideas. So for example, there are people here who are involved in the Youth Economic Forum, right? You probably can talk about that later. And that would be a very good platform for young people to, again, share their views and then also to engage with actual policy makers in terms of what is the best way to have your inputs heard in a substantive manner. Next.
Okay, Doctor, I have a question since you used to be an MP and you've been involved with like government policies. So I have a question. Do you think your impact for the society is much more stronger when you are an MP, or do you think when you are being involved with think tank talks where you guys talk about issues and stuff?
I think it's different for different people. If let's say you just want to talk about influence in terms of policy making, MPs don't really have that much influence. They are not ministers, they are not in government. But of course, if let's say you want to make your voice heard in certain policy issues so that you force the government to respond to it, like for example, what Rafizi Ramli and Tony Pua did in terms of highlighting the issues to do with 1MDB, right? I think their voices were very loud. I tried to raise issues to do with the transparency of the Elections Commission and things like gerrymandering and malapportionment within the parliamentary constituencies. So each MP has their role to play untuk membangkitkan isu-isu yang penting. At the same time, I also say that those in government with government positions may not necessarily have an impact if they don't know how to make use of their policy power. Meaning, there are some ministers that go through 5 years without presenting without presenting any bills in parliament. Right? So it really depends on individual MPs, individual ministers, and who knows? Maybe one day I'll go back into government and try to make an impact.
All right, Dr. Ong. So in these recent years, we've been hearing like Malaysian attracting billions or record-breaking of investments. But despite the headlines of news, but why are the fresh graduates, they are still stuck with the gaji cukup makan cycle? So if the economy is really doing that great, so why aren't the fresh graduates that feel it or they see an increase in the wage?
Yeah, very good question, Kenny. Let me ask you, what is your viewpoint of what a fresh graduate in Kuala Lumpur will earn in these days?
All right, so
Let's say for yourself.
for myself, because due to the inflation, the costs are getting higher and higher.
So you probably get more than, let's say, the minimum wage, right? Which is
yeah, because
1,700.
I'm in finance, but for the median or for the average, I think for some of my friends, they are not in finance. They are still earning, I think, just 2K plus, which are not enough for them. So they are quite struggling with this. So with all these policies of this and this kind of investments, the government, they might say that we are trying to increase the jobs and increase the wage. But until now, maybe at the moment, we aren't seeing anything yet. So yeah, how could it translate into the rakyat?
So I would say that in areas where we've seen a lot of foreign direct investment flow in, the entry wages have gone up, especially in the semiconductor sector. So in Penang, for example, if you are an engineer and you have certain skills in the semicon area, you'll probably be getting paid at least 4,000 ringgit. There are some jobs that the Selangor state government is working together with the private sector to give training for fresh graduates to be in the integrated circuit or IC design ecosystem. And some companies are offering a starting pay of 6,000 ringgit. Right? So there are these kinds of opportunities. But I think the more important question is, how does the government ensure that the FDIs that are coming in are not just giving benefits to certain sectors in, let's say, the urban areas? Right? How do you try to increase wages in places like Kota Baru, for example, right? Or in Sabah or Sarawak? I think that would require a different kind of discussion. But the other point I want to make is that, you've been working for what, about 2 years now?
Almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years. So the other thing that we should discuss is not just the starting salary, but how fast your salary gets increased, right? So I'm guessing that your salary has been revised probably to a higher level, right?
Yeah, but still not that much to cover.
Not that much, yes.
Yeah.
I'll come back to that later in terms of the cost of living. But I think what we should take note of is that there are many opportunities for graduates to be able to get promoted or maybe even shift to different jobs after they get sufficient experience and then increase their pay using that pathway lah. Which is why it's important for us to have very open discussions about career advancement and career strategy. Yeah, and also how important it is for you guys to post on LinkedIn. That's a subject for another maybe a later discussion. All right, next. Okay, Eric. Yeah.
Okay, jadi anak muda yang berumur 18 sekarang, mereka boleh undi kan. Lepas tu based on my observation, saya nampak sekarang banyak ahli politik yang start ikut trend Gen Z lah. As example macam Adun di Pulau Tikus, Josau, dia dancing dalam Dewan Negeri Pulau Pinang lah. So some of the intern pun ada macam account untuk promote parti sendiri atau macam tu lah. So soalan saya adalah, do you think ahli politik mereka ada ambil peduli, are they listening to us or they are just interested in our words?
Bagi saya, untuk ahli politik yang mungkin lebih muda ataupun mereka yang lebih peka kepada apa yang sedang berlaku di kalangan orang muda, mereka memang ada minat untuk ikut trend orang muda. Saya rasa bukan semata-mata ni untuk ambil undi, tetapi saya rasa adalah satu cara untuk connect dengan orang muda. Kalau benar-benar nak tahu, saya rasa bukan sekadar dancing dan semua tu lah, tetapi memang nak faham orang muda, mereka minat terhadap apa. Dan apa yang saya nak tegaskan ialah, tak boleh categorize orang muda sebagai satu kelompok saja. Ya, ada sebahagian orang muda suka pergi exercise, ada suka pergi mungkin pergi shopping, ada yang suka pergi buat benda yang lain. So you cannot generalize, and I think untuk ahli politik mereka perlu tahu, okay, untuk target audience mereka di kalangan orang muda di tempat ni, mungkin di kalangan pelajar, mereka minat apa. Untuk mereka yang mungkin dah mula bekerja, apakah kepentingan mereka dan sebagainya. So you really have to connect with young people where they are lah. Bagi saya cuba ambil intern lepas SPM ataupun sedang belajar A-levels ataupun university, dan saya selalu tanyalah apa mereka suka buat, apa mereka minat, music yang mereka dengar, filem yang mereka tonton dan sebagainya. Okay. Yeah.
Alright. Okay, sepanjang kerjaya Dr. Ong Kian Ming, saya rasa mesti doktor pernah lihat banyak dasar, mesti ada menggubal banyak dasar dan juga menganalisis banyak dasar kan. Tetapi adakah terdapat sesuatu dasar yang doktor rasa dia bagus atas kertas? Maksudnya apabila kita lihat dasar tu secara on paper, semuanya okay, perfect, nampak macam boleh berjaya. Tetapi in reality, bila kita dah implement dasar tersebut, apabila kita lihat on the ground, what's the effect? It's not so good, or it's like meh, macam tu.
Okay, saya beri satu contoh. Ada satu projek yang dikendalikan waktu Datuk Seri Najib jadi Perdana Menteri. Mungkin korang pun ada dengar projek Nadi Kehidupan Sungai ataupun River of Life.
Yeah.
So I think some of you would have heard of it. Siapa pernah pergi
Dataran Merdeka.
Dataran Merdeka?
Yeah.
Okay. So have you walked the whole length of the River of Life?
Yes, pernah.
Okay. So apa feedback?
Dia cuma ada tambah sikit macam lighting kat sana. Tu sajalah, nampak cantik. Tu saja.
Jadi on paper, you are supposed to be able to walk from Central Market all the way to Mid Valley.
Oh.
But if you try to walk, mungkin you have to cross the river once or twice. There are some parts where you have to go underneath the tunnel. The tunnel is stuck. There are places where the walkway is not very well maintained. Jadi bagi saya, apabila kerajaan mengumumkan projek seperti itu, adalah penting untuk ahli politik untuk pergi tengok dengan mata sendiri bagaimana projek ni dikendalikan. Dan bagi saya, River of Life ni memang satu projek yang saya ambil memahati dengan begitu teliti, kerana saya bukan saja walk on the walkway, but I've been inside the river.
Oh, inside the river.
Inside the river.
How does that work?
When oh no. When the River of Life project was announced, I actually did about 1 month recce, looking upstream, downstream. Went with my team to recce on our bicycles, and then after that we managed to rent a couple of kayaks. And we took the kayak down the river from Gombak all the way to PWTC untuk tengok sama ada sungai tu memang nadi kehidupan atau tidak. And I put it all on YouTube. If you Google my name on YouTube, Ong Kian Ming River of Life, you'll be able to see a 7-minute clip of me and my team going into the river.
Okey YB, soalan saya bagi pendapat YB, apakah kemahiran yang perlu ada pada budak-budak Gen Z ni tanpa mengira latar belakang pengajian mereka? Macam contoh, sekarang kan susah nak dapat kerja bagi setengah tempat. Apa yang kemahiran yang diorang perlu fokus lebih mendalam?
Saya rasa selain daripada kemahiran teknikal yang mungkin berbeza berdasarkan subjek ataupun kursus yang dibelajar di universiti ataupun di mana-mana tempat yang lain, critical thinking tu sangat penting. Kenapa saya cakap sebegitu? Kerana apabila saya ada conversation discussion dengan orang muda tu, dalam masa mungkin 3 minit, mungkin 2 minit lah, saya boleh menilai sama ada pelajar ni, mahasiswa ni ada capacity untuk critical thinking atau tidak. Maksudnya apabila saya tanya satu soalan, dia ada kebolehan untuk proses soalan tu, lepas tu dia boleh tanya saya balik. Maksudnya okey, saya kata okey, apakah fikiran anda terhadap dasar ni? Dan dia boleh menghuraikan fikiran dia, gambaran dia dan pandangan dia. Lepas tu dia akan kata okey, dasar ni mungkin ada sedikit gap ataupun sedikit kelemahan. Adakah doktor rasa bahawa ini adalah kelemahan yang boleh diatasi dan apakah cara yang doktor boleh bangkitkan untuk mengatasi masalah ni? So that kind of thinking is very rare among young people. It's actually very rare among old people also. Termasuk mereka yang ada kat dalam parlimen tu. Saya rasa tu penting kerana apabila kita pergi buat kerja, sekarang kalau nak jadi pak turut, mungkin AI boleh menggantikan kerja you. Tetapi kalau you boleh value add, you boleh nampak isu tu dari segi boss you, bagaimana nak value add kepada kerjaya boss dan juga matlamat bos. Saya rasa itu adalah sesuatu yang boleh memberi orang nampak value you, nilai you dan memberi satu jalan yang lebih sempurna kepada kerjaya you.
Saya nak add on sikit lah pasal critical thinking tadi. Pada pandangan saya, sebab saya seorang debater dalam Mandarin lah, bahasa Cina. So, critical thinking tu memang penting bagi saya. Tapi critical thinking tu dia tak boleh macam you sudah ada satu stance. Lepas tu, you guna stance tu untuk critical thinking. Faham tak maksud saya? Maksudnya, macam contoh, you ada satu stance terhadap satu isu. You sudah ada pandangan, pendirian tersebut. Lepas tu, you guna critical thinking tu untuk macam argue dengan orang lain. Saya rasa yang ini adalah satu masalah antara banyak debater lah. So, for me, critical thinking ni dia mesti you kena macam buat research dulu, lepas tu kena dapat maklumat dulu. You tak boleh pilih betul atau tidak dulu. You tak boleh ada pandangan pendirian dulu. Lepas tu, you baru melakukan critical thinking tu baru betul. Kalau you sudah ada satu pandangan, macam saya rasa membuang sampah merata-rata itu adalah salah, itu bukan critical thinking. Itu adalah you already have the pendirian and you elaborate it just like that only. Tapi critical thinking tu adalah you tak tahu benda tu, tapi you mencari maklumat, you buat research semua tu, baru you menentukan benda tu adalah betul atau tidak.
Okey, mungkin saya boleh memberi satu contoh dari segi pelajaran ekonomi lah. Kerana saya belajar ekonomi waktu saya jadi undergraduate. Dalam bidang ekonomi ataupun dalam bidang sains pun, starting point mungkin adalah berikut. You ada satu hipotesis. Hipotesis H1 adalah okey, sekarang ada lebih ramai orang bercerai kerana tekanan yang didapati dari yang dikenakan di atas ibu kerana lebih ramai anak. Okay, so itulah adalah hipotesis.
Mhm.
Critical thinking ialah bagaimana you boleh mendapatkan maklumat yang anda rasa boleh prove atau disprove hipotesis itu. Dan dalam bidang ekonomi pun ada satu konsep yang mereka panggil Bayesian updating. Maksudnya apabila you dapat maklumat yang lebih terkini, you boleh gunakan maklumat untuk update you punya pendirian. Right? So the critical thinking part is not for you to immediately get an opinion. Right? It's for you to understand why it is that you think a certain way, and then after that, get the relevant information so that you can try to answer the question that you're interested in. Masalah orang muda sekarang ialah mereka tak tahu mana untuk mendapatkan maklumat yang tepat.
Gemini, ChatGPT.
Saya rasa itu adalah satu shortcut lah. Mungkin you boleh bermula dari situ, tetapi apabila dalam bidang ekonomi, dalam bidang statistik, kamu mesti mendapatkan data yang baik. Selepas itu buat analisa mengikut framework yang ada dalam bidang-bidang yang tertentu. So if you tell me, okay, because debater, okay, this is mungkin saya nak cucuk sikit lah. Dalam debate, terutamanya apabila saya nampak mereka dalam Chinese media tu, termasuk Lucas dan sebagainya, Ngakoming, kawan saya di DAP, kalau guna bahasa Cina, 他们是用口语. Maksudnya mereka menggunakan bagaimana nak menggunakan perkataan itu untuk mendapatkan point. Tetapi bagi saya sebagai ahli akademik, itu bukan satu cara yang baik.
Ya, betul.
Kerana apabila you gunakan cara untuk memikat hati menggunakan perkataan-perkataan tertentu, if your underlying basis is wrong, it's wrong.
Yes.
Right? So that is why sometimes when I see this kind of debating position, mungkin you boleh guna cara tu dalam parlimen ataupun boleh menggunanya untuk memenangi pertandingan debat. Tetapi dari segi policy, mengubah dasar tu, saya rasa itu bukan satu cara yang baik lah. Itu pendirian saya.
Okay, sure. I actually have a few questions that I've prepared. So this is sort of regarding you punya political career sikit. You chose to leave frontline politics despite being viewed by many as one of the more policy-oriented MPs. However, if capable young Malaysians see that even technocratic politicians struggle to survive in the political system, why should they still believe that politics is the best avenue to change the country? And what would you say to a student activist who wants to fight corruption but is increasingly becoming cynical of the political process?
Yeah, so when I saw that question, I thought, wow, this is a very loaded question with a lot of moving parts. Bukan satu soalan yang senang untuk dijawab. Okay, so first of all, to give some context, I think my approach is that young people or people anywhere, not just in Malaysia, can make an impact in terms of policy change through channels other than politics. Politics is just one, or being a politician is just one of the channels. So saya beri satu contoh. Untuk undi 18, there were two people who, Taman and Takiria, they both did a lot of work to advocate for undi 18 without being politicians, right? And they are being acknowledged for their effort now. And there are a lot of other people like Malala, for example, who advocated and did a lot of work for women and women empowerment, especially in the education sector, without being a politician. Jadi bagi saya tak semestinya mesti guna cara politik untuk ada impact dari segi penggubalan dasar. So that's one. In my own situation, I took a step back from frontline politics because I saw somebody who could replace me, who could bring a fresh voice in the arena of public policy discussion and debate. And the person that replaced me is a young, capable lawyer, Sharizan, in Bangi. And he has brought up a lot of good issues in Parliament with regards to, legal rights, with regards to legal reform, anti-corruption issues and whatnot. And I think that I have no regrets, giving him that responsibility. So in fact, to throw that question back to you, shouldn't it be something that should encourage more people to get into politics, because you know that there are others who are willing to step aside. Kalau nak saya sampai jadi ahli parlimen sampai umur 70, 80 or even maybe beyond that, I think it's a bad sign. Yeah, it's not showing that young people have an opportunity to get involved in politics and to replace politicians who are getting a bit older. But maybe just one last point. I've stepped away from frontline politics, but I'm still contributing to the policy ecosystem. And like I said just now, if there is one day a right prime minister who comes along that that I believe has the kind of policy focus that I myself have, then there may be an opportunity for me to get back into policy making in government. Let me ask you guys a question. Tell me one politician that you admire and why. Okay, yes, Priscilla.
I can start. Do you consider Anwar a politician, right? I mean,
Of
he's
course,
prime
he is.
minister.
Yes, he's
Yeah.
prime minister. Yes, he is
Okay.
a politician.
So-
He is a politician, true and true.
So I'm someone who I get confused a lot when it comes down to politics, because 1 minute there's something happening, another minute, and I'm a person that gets confused easily.
Okay.
However, when it comes down to Anwar, the reason why I admire him is more of a personal reason, and it's due to the fact that I used to be stateless. I didn't have IC until I turned 19, which was last year.
Okay.
I got my IC for almost a year already.
Congratulations.
Yes. And
Must have been a difficult process.
very, very difficult. And let me be honest with you. I think I lost it when I was around 12, I believe. And I have waited a very, very long time to get this IC. And I literally did not have hope in having the blue card. And and when I found out that Anwar was going to have this gonna do the how's to say, I forgot what is it called, but it was the
Recognizing.
recognizing the foreign children here with their citizenship. I was very hopeful that in the coming years, that time, I would also get my own citizenship back. And I was actually very happy. My mom was very happy. My dad was also very happy.
So you were born overseas?
No, I'm adopted.
You're adopted. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why I have Chinese name.
Okay.
Though I don't look Chinese.
Okay. Understand.
Yeah. So
And you admire Anwar because you feel that he's responsible for allowing you to get your IC today.
yes,
Okay.
that's why I kind of admire him. It's not really towards politics, so it's more like a personal reason for me.
Okay.
But
Yeah, but his government, allowed that process to take place so that you could get your IC.
yes.
Okay. Anyone else? Siapa lagi? Seorang ahli politik yang
Bagi saya lah, saya tak ada ahli politik yang admire lah. For me, ahli politik, kalau you letak filter dekat dia, nanti kalau dia buat kesalahan ke ataupun perangai yang not meets your expectation, dia akan rasa
kecewa.
kecewa dan sedih lah. So bagi saya, ahli politik ni dia adalah rakyat adalah bos kepada ahli politik. So they have to work for us. Dan kalau ada apa-apa masalah yang dibangkit oleh rakyat biasa ataupun NGO ataupun aktivis, mereka kena dengar lah. So this is my pendapat.
Mungkin salah satu ciri yang mungkin bukan admire, mungkin anda boleh hormati.
Hormat je. betul,
Hormat
saya hormat.
ialah seorang ahli parlimen yang mendengar suara rakyat dan prihatin kepada isu-isu yang dibangkitkan oleh pengundi mereka. Kerana bukan semua ahli politik ataupun ahli parlimen ataupun ahli Dewan Undangan Negeri yang peka dan juga dengar suara rakyat.
Kalau nak saya pilih seorang tu memang susah.
Bukan.
Ah,
Itu adalah komen saya.
komen saya.
Itu komen saja. Ya, bukan.
Ada pressure.
It's not a question.
Okay.
Ini bukan kata yang kamu mesti sanjungi seorang, tetapi
Yeah.
mungkin boleh hormati seorang yang lebih peka lah. But in terms of who you may pick, that one is okay. I'm not forcing you.
Okay.
Yeah.
For me, I think saya berharap lah opposition sekarang boleh buat kerja mereka sikit lah. Sebab sekarang apa yang saya observe, saya nampak tu backbencher saja yang buat kerja mereka. So
Backbencher maksudnya backbencher untuk kerajaan
MPs lah untuk kerajaan. Yang
Seperti siapa? Pastikan berapa nama?
Kalau ada tengok berita tahulah. So backbencher yang cuma saya nampak mereka ada check and balance kat sana lah. Contoh isu RCI, isu turap, isu apa lagi? Non-halal and dia yang agihkan sampah non-halal dengan halal tu.
Okay, ya.
So for me, I rasa backbencher ada melaksanakan
Tugas mereka.
tanggungjawab mereka.
Okay.
Opposition kena
Kerja kuat sikit lah.
Okay.
Actually, I agree with Eric's opinion because I also don't really find that politicians are, they're not exactly the kind of people that you want to admire because with that admiration comes a filter, as Eric said. This admiration becomes a filter where whatever it is they say, terus macam like, yes, betul YB, betul. You just tend to agree with whatever they say. And not everything they say or do is correct, is right. However, you also mentioned earlier that a politician that is admirable or should be respected is one yang peka with rakyat. And actually, although this politician, it's not exactly Malaysian, but if you're on the internet,
I didn't say Malaysian.
yeah, okay, right. If you scroll through Twitter or Instagram, you will always see his posts. And the person I'm talking about is the mayor of New York City, Zoran Mamdani. You can see the way he works. Whenever he addresses any issues ke apa ke, you can tell that he genuinely cares about the people of New York City, whether it's people working, the bodega owners, the store owners, or people yang jual makanan tepi jalan, or parents, or kids. You can tell that he is genuinely passionate about the work he does, and he understands his role as the mayor, and that he is there to serve the people, not have the people serve him. And I, by any means, do not admire like, oh wow, Mamdani, what a great guy. But I think that he is quite respectable. I really I am rooting for the people of New York City. Wow, it must be great to live there now.
He has many qualities that you would maybe respect in a public figure, for example. Yeah. Anyone else? Yeah. Kenny?
Right. So for me, actually, I don't think he's considered as like the traditional politicians, and he's not even an MP now, but is actually Tengku Zafrul. Yeah, because I'm from the banker's background and a banker who's interested in nation building. So in order to see a banker to turn into politicians and contributed in a way like under his leadership, I think we came to the NIMP, NSS, and so on. So yeah, to see it drive to using his expertise to drive the economy. So I think it's encouraging to see that, like for someone from the non-politicians background, so like technocrat like doctor. So I think it's quite inspiring.
And he was also Minister of Finance. Got us through a tough period during COVID as well, with many of the stimulus packages and whatnot. I think Zafrul has a lot of admirable qualities, and he will have a interesting time as we approach the next general election. Maybe I share my own person that I
We were about
respect.
to ask you that actually.
To me, I was in the United States from 2004 to 2010. I was doing my PhD there. And during this time, there was a skinny senator from the state of Illinois who made a bid to run for the presidency of the United States. He managed to win. Not just one term but 2 terms. And to me, he's somebody that is very charismatic, very as genuine as you can get for a politician, and somebody who has been consistent, during his time as president, and even after he stepped down. And he had his presidential library recently commemorated and opened in Chicago, and this person is Barack Obama.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's he has many flaws, but he has I think a lot of things that are admirable about him as well. And he's been, like I said, very consistent in terms of what he has been advocating for. Yeah.
I think we've discussed about admirable qualities that we think politicians should or should not have, right? But then we also need to acknowledge that politicians are also human, and we can't find all of these admirable qualities inside one person all the time. So I guess my question to you, Doctor, would be that if we were to choose just 3 qualities that we should look out for in a politician, what are those 3 that are quite necessary, I would ask, in serving, at least for the local context, for Malaysia? It doesn't really matter whether it's like, overseas, that's it might be different contexts, but I think in Malaysia it's quite different in a sense where we have so many moving parts, we have so many different levels to consider, and then those at national level and state level constituencies are quite different in nature of how they operate. So if it were you, what would the 3 qualities that is a must-have for a politician in Malaysia?
Yeah, so I've actually thought about this before. Came out with a longer list.
Okay.
But 3 is a good number. The first quality that a policymaker and a politician should have is intellectual curiosity. Why is this important? Because you need to have intellectual curiosity to go and find out stuff, to want to find out stuff, to want to develop critical thinking. So for example, kalau kawasan you selalu banjir, you tak boleh kata, pegawai you pergi cari kenapa tempat tu selalu banjir. You have to go and find out yourself. Is it because projek terbatas banjir tu dari 20 tahun dulu tak berjaya? Is it because there's a lot of clearing of forest upstream from a river because of overdevelopment? Is it because this is a low-lying area that was wrongly developed, like Taman Sri Muda in Shah Alam? So you need to have that kind of intellectual curiosity to go and find out about what works and what doesn't. And I think we don't have enough people with that kind of attitude or mindset. You have somebody like Khairi Jamaluddin who during COVID, the COVID vaccination process, he had the intellectual curiosity or saw the need to go and learn a behavioral economics course, take up a behavioral economics course during the vaccination program, so that he could understand how to motivate people differently so that they could go and take the vaccine, right? So that's intellectual curiosity. Not something that you hear very often, I think, spoken about politicians. The second quality is actually resilience, because it's probably a quality that everyone has to learn. But for politicians, you encounter a lot of disappointments all the time. Things won't go all your way. You find that, mungkin saya ada niat yang baik apabila saya masuk ke gelanggang politik untuk membantu rakyat mahir. But when you get into the political arena, you find that ada kekangan, mungkin ada orang yang tak suka you, mungkin ada menteri yang ada agenda yang lain dan sebagainya. So you need to be able to just keep on going, and even though you fail, you just keep at it. And then the third one is actually the most important part, which again very few people talk about, which is necessary in a politician. The word starts with E. It's empathy. The reason why it is necessary is because kalau you tak ada empathy, you cannot feel the struggles that the normal people feels. When people come to you with their problems, you think of you won't be able to put yourself in their shoes. So I read this book when I was doing literature, when I was studying in Singapore. It's called To Kill a Mockingbird, and the protagonist's father, this is Atticus Finch, who was telling the daughter Gem, you will never know how a person feels until you walk in that person's shoes, or you take that person's skin and walk around in that person's skin. So this is what I think a politician should do more of, because after a while, when you become an MP, minister, prime minister, everyone around you are there to bodek you, are there to serve you. Bila you nak air, orang akan datang dengan satu botol air di depan anda. So you lose touch lah. You lose touch with the humanity. You lose touch with what is really necessary for you to, understand. The lives of all of you are very different. You were adopted. Some of you may not have the luxury of spending a lot of time with your families. Some of you may be from broken homes. So having the empathy is, I think, probably the most important part of being a politician. Yeah, can I ask you, what made you ask that question?
What made me ask that question? Because when you asked, who is the politician that we admire, or at least anyone that we kind of respect, every person that came to my mind at that moment, there were pros and cons to that person. So there were things that, I feel that this person does this right. But at the same time, I also feel that there are things that are lacking within that particular figure or person or persona, so to say. So I guess the question is that as we approach general elections and also the state election season, a lot of times people get swayed with what goes on in propaganda, what goes on with manifestos, and so on. But the singular most important thing is to know whether or not a politician is berjiwa rakyat. And what does that mean, right? So I guess one way to figure it out is by knowing what are the 3 qualities that a politician must have. Yeah,
Okay.
that's my take on it.
Okay, so saya akan lontarkan satu soalan kepada anda semua. But before I go there, just let me put this thought in your heads lah. In politics, no man or woman is an island. Maksudnya, jikalau anda nak masuk kepada gelanggang politik, the assumption is anda mesti masuk sebagai seorang ahli satu pasukan. Right? So like it or not, the party that you belong to, the party that you go and fight elections over, that is your pasukan. Right? Now we are in football season because of the World Cup. You cannot like, my left back is not very good. I want to swap with the other team. Tak boleh macam tu. Right? So you try to build your team to be have different people with different strengths to cover up the weaknesses that everyone has. So we should not look at politics as if there's just one savior. There needs to be a team of good people to help the leaders in this country move forward lah. Tapi soalan yang saya nak tanya lah, kerana sekarang musim pilihan raya dah sampai, ataupun mungkin akan sampai dalam masa yang terdekat. For you young people, what do you look for when you go and cast a vote? Right? Is it the candidate? Is it the party that he or she belongs to? Is it the record of, let's say, a certain leader in the party, whether at the state or at the federal level? Maybe you can use your own home state and constituency as a reference point. Tak kira Temelur ke, Kota Baru ke, Damansara ke, Subang ke, Kuala Pilah, Shah Alam. What? Let's say you're going to the polls now. What are the things that you would think about that will make you select one candidate over another?
For me, saya akan tengok dia punya profile candidate and dia punya record. Maksudnya record apa yang dia buat, jasa dia pada rakyat. Sebab kadang-kadang Gen Z ni dia hanya ikut kawan. Maksudnya dia tak kenal mana pun. YB tu boleh percaya ke tak, YB tu buat ke tak kerja tu. Sebab kalau kita ikut kawan, kita macam tak ada pendirian tetap. And kita, bila kita vote tu, tak ke kena tunggu 5 tahun lagi pula nak tahu keadaan sesuatu tempat tu maju ke tak. Tapi bila kita check dia punya profile, record, kita boleh macam, kita terus trust adakah undian kita ni betul-betul berhasil.
Tapi jikalau di kawasan you nak mengundi tu ada calon baru, maksudnya tak ada track record dari segi berkhidmat untuk rakyat di kawasan tu.
Aduh.
Bagaimana?
Susah sikit tu.
Susah sikit, tapi saya akan
Undi
Kit
parti.
pergi tempat dia dan tengok sama ada dari segi dia punya kebolehan tu boleh lakukan ke tak.
Mungkin boleh dengar ceramah dia.
Betul.
Mungkin boleh tengok sama ada social media dia ada apa-apa rekod.
Ya.
Macam tu lah.
Tapi kadang-kadang sosial media ni kadang-kadang kita tak tahu dia betul-betul buat ke tak. Sebab setengah dia
Wayang.
setengah wayang, setengah tak.
Ha.
So kalau nak tahu betul-betul ke tak tu kita kena, bagi saya kita kena pergi tanya penduduk penduduk tempat YB tu jaga sendiri. Sebab kadang-kadang bila kita nak tahu cerita sebenar kita kena tanya penduduk kawasan tu. Sebab kadang-kadang sekarang macam kita tahu sekarang ni cyber tropper. Ada tak semualah, ada setengah YB dia bayar cyber tropper untuk hasut anak-anak muda, tapi ada setengah tak. So kalau nak betul-betul tahu, maybe bagi saya kena pergi tanya orang-orang lama yang tinggal di sekitar tempat duduk tersebut.
Will you really do that before you vote?
No.
Memang.
Okey,
Ya.
mungkin saya boleh kongsi sedikit pengalaman saya lah, dan mungkin ia boleh tolong jawab soalan tu, dan lepas tu saya akan tanya follow up lah tentang pemikiran anda semua untuk proses ni. Bagi saya, bila saya kali pertama yang saya dipilih sebagai ahli parlimen Serdang, iaitu pada tahun 2013, saya memang orang baru. Saya bukan dari kawasan Serdang, saya di parachute lah ke tempat tu kerana parti saya DAP pada masa itu mereka rasa perlu seorang teknokrat dengan latar belakang saya, di mana saya boleh pergi parlimen untuk bahas tentang isu ekonomi, isu pendidikan, isu pilihan raya dan sebagainya. Dan saya rasa saya memang telah melaksanakan tugas saya untuk bangkitkan isu yang lebih khusus kepada dasar dan polisi. Tetapi apabila saya baca di Twitter, di social media tu yang mereka kata, Dr. Ong ni terlalu akademik. Dia cakap tentang dasar saja tetapi tak turun ke padang. So when I read that, then I realised I need to do something on the ground. Dan bukan sekadar pergi majlis perkahwinan, perkuburan dan sebagainya. So I tried to do things that were more unique to my area. One example is, I think I'm the only ahli parlimen that was the main contractor and the person in charge of upgrading a running track in my kawasan in Bangi. The reason behind that was that I got allocation from Ministry of Finance. Duit tu masuk ke dalam akaun parlimen saya, tetapi oleh kerana duit itu tidak diberikan melalui proses kerajaan yang lebih normal, Majlis Perbandaran Kajang, mereka tak nak buat kerja untuk upgrade track. Mereka kata, okey, ni bukan tanggungjawab saya kerana duit itu datang dari YB. So in the end, I had to do the tender. I appointed the contractor. I did all the meetings. This was during COVID time, and then we upgraded the track. And it was a very good experience for me because I can say ini adalah kerja yang saya buat sendiri. Bukan macam ada satu projek, satu lagi projek parti X ataupun YBY. Ini memang projek yang saya buat sendiri, dan because I did it through my own office, tak perlu bayar duit kopi. Jimat projek tu cost lebih kurang 2.5 juta. I save $500,000, and then $500,000 saya beli peralatan yang baru to equip the track with even more things like pole vault, different peralatan dan sebagainya, and then in the end the people who benefit are the people who use the stadium. So there was a question just now you asked about technocrat versus politician. I don't think we should have that kind of too big of a distinction, because if you are a technocrat, you only survive in the policy dimension. You don't go down to the ground. Actually, you won't be such a good technocrat. You mesti balance. Apa yang you buat on the ground, you try to relate it to dasar dan policy yang perlu dilaksanakan dengan sesuai.
So for me, I think it's a combination. It cannot be just one standalone criteria in which we choose a candidate and we are voting for them. Definitely the person themselves. So if they do have a track record somewhere, then that track record matters. But if they don't have a track record somewhere, then it's also important to know who is backing them up, who's giving them the support, and what is that support going to look like. So then the track record of the parties who are within those constituencies play into position. However, we also need to look at it from a larger perspective, is that would our vote be influencing how policies are made at the state and also national level? So if we are voting for this MP from this party, and if this party forms a government within the state or national level, what policies would they champion for? What needs or what are the priorities of the rakyat that they are going to look at and they are going to actually, push forward within those 5 years that they are in power? So yeah, those are my 3 criteria I feel that I would
makes sense.
perform. Yeah.
And you want to add, Kenneth?
Yeah, sure. So I agree with everyone that politics should be balanced. But again, actually, I'm more towards the technocratic, because my background is in finance. So actually, I was look at the track record of the current government. So let's say they have implemented some policies and they have executed it well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I will vouch for them. But because like for a policy like the NIMP, it couldn't be done in just one term, like let's say 5 years. So it actually requires continuity. So let's say if the current government, they are doing well and we really need them to continue the policy to make it run in long term and to be a success eventually. So yeah, that's what I think. I look at a macro level but because I know a lot of people would vouch for the grassroots or for the for the grassroots kind of things. But for me, I would still look at it, their execution and their disciplines in implementing the policies. Yeah, that's what I thought.
So before we end, just want to thank you guys for your questions. Please keep asking good questions, not just to politicians, but to yourselves as well, so that you can, be part and parcel of a process where you improve, and as you improve, hopefully society, the companies that you work for, and then the larger country would also make progress. Yeah. Thank you very much. Terima kasih.
Thank you. Terima kasih, Doktor.
Okay. Yeah.